Alright, everyone. It's a wonderful Wednesday night, and you're back listening to Wapplewood. Unfortunately, today, a certain bum decided to flake on me and say, "Ooh, I'm gonna hang out with my wife, Jerma. I'm a bit busy this week, and my wife wants attention. So I'm not gonna record the episode with you, and I'm telling you this 3 hours before we record." So, I scrambled a bit, and I accosted, four people, and the first two people I accosted said, "No, we're busy." Jerma is 3 hours before. The second two people I accosted said yes. So today we have our guests, Macka and Ozek. Everyone, I think, knows who Macka is, but Macka, how about you introduce yourself, just to give everyone a refresher?
Hello, I'm Macka, and I am an admin for CDD. You may know me as spending way too much time in faith discussions and answering a lot of questions, and basically just being a theology nerd. So that's
And the
usually where
exact
I'm seen.
opposite of that, we have Ozek. Ozek is less known. I mostly know him from my guild and arguing with him and his wife in politics.
Yeah, the opposite of Macca is pretty fair. I spend most of my time in all the unimportant sections of the server. Jerma's Guild, like he said, politics, which I only started going to after the election, actually. And all the hobby and culture threads I tend to be in memes. I watch the faith discussion threads, but I don't really participate in them. I'm not all that qualified for it.
Faith discussion somehow is more violent than politics form,
I don't
and I
believe
just don't
that.
mess with it.
I don't believe that one bit.
Alright, how many bans do you get from each section compared to the amount of activity?
Oh, don't put me on the spot like that.
Yeah, but we both know
Not
that the answer
fair.
is higher in faith discussions.
Well,
It's
it's
a lot
more of
easier to get banned in faith discussions.
yeah, because with faith discussions, there's like a right answer, but in politics, you can't like always say there's always a for sure right answer. You could just say people are wrong, but
Yeah,
that's not always bannable.
there's always wrong answers, but even then, like in politics, I remember there was a situation where a guy was talking about something, and he was talking about something and saying stuff which either meant one of two things. Either he was hilariously misinformed, or he thought some deeply unethical things were totally morally justified. And then I pointed it out to the mob, and you, actually, Mac, were there, and you're like, well, why don't you go hear him out, check what he's actually saying? And I have a sneaking suspicion if that same scenario had happened in faith discussions, he would have been thrown in holding first. It wouldn't have been, "Oh, Jerma, why don't you go ask him a few questions?"
The topics of faith discussions just naturally tread pretty closely to the rules, whereas politics not necessarily.
Yeah, and like with faith discussions, it's easier because I'm gonna be honest, Jordan, in that sense, that situation, I did no idea what he was talking about. I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Jerma,
Alright,
please just
yes, I'm not defending that particular instance. I mean, I don't think anyone who wasn't involved in it knows what we're talking about. So we don't need
yeah.
to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, but like with faith discussions, I guess like where I'm going with this is that like I can go look it up. Like I can be like, okay, what does the catechism say? Like is there a Vatican document? But like in politics, it's literally like, oh yeah, we have all these thousands of things and I'm like, I don't know what the good sources are. I don't know. I don't know anything. There's so many countries, like so many things. I'm so confused.
Well, what this sounds like is that you need a nice, I would say German politics mod. Someone who knows a thing or two about politicking. Oh, look, what do you think about that?
Why German specifically?
Why German?
Yeah.
Spell that with a J.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, man.
The
Wow,
question
that's
still
crazy.
stands.
That's crazy. He knew what I was talking about. It was just like, oh, why German specifically? That's crazy disrespect.
I mean,
The
I'm like technically German, like ethnically.
this is one of the things I always find annoying about. I notice Americans do this a lot, but they say, "Oh, I'm German, I'm Irish, I'm Polish." They never say I'm Spanish. They never say this about first. They never say this about the name countries. I've never heard anyone go, "Oh yes, I'm Hungarian," and then when you ask, they're like, "Yeah, my family moved from Hungary to the United States in the 1800s." It's always more recent immigrants for the not cool quote unquote countries. But then there's so much of this. Oh yes, I'm German, and then you look, and then they're like, oh yeah, German, and then their family fled from the revolutions of '48.
Part of it though is that the US just has its own culture. And so like after a while it's like I act nothing like I don't know what it's like to live in the country that like my ancestors came from.
Hmm.
Like there's that difference. But like if it's like first generation or second, then you still kind of have that culture a little bit.
Yeah, I'm forgiving of it when it's like first generation or citizenship,
Hmm.
because that like you have like an easily demonstrated tie.
Yeah, that really is.
The Ozek, what about you? Where are you from? All from, quote unquote.
I mean, if I were to just identify myself as what I think of myself as, I would identify myself as Midwestern before any of that. But my ancestry is Polish, mostly. There's some German in there too, but
Mm.
um, and specifically the Kashubia region of Poland,
Oh, I
which
remember.
I don't actually know that much about it. Um, but it wasn't that far removed that my ancestors came over to America. It was early 20th century, I think, but
Hmm.
um, recently enough that the cultural there's still some aspect of the Polish culture in my family. I've got an uncle who runs a cultural institute that has lots of historical relics that my family brought over when they came over.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah.
The my American family emigrated sometime in the 1600s.
Wow.
Yeah, and the only artifact that I at least have no possession of is the rosary that crossed the Atlantic back then, which
See,
is
that's
uncommon because not many Catholics were crossing the Atlantic at that time, and not many Catholics stuck around
Yeah,
that long.
that's quite a while to keep a rosary too.
Oh yeah, no, the it has one broken link that I need to get repaired, but otherwise it's mostly usable.
Oh, that's super neat. So you like are praying on the rosary that like your ancestors 400 years ago prayed on. That
No,
is so
it
cool.
we don't use it. I pray with my grandfather's rosary, which I got from my father, and he got from his father. That's where my rosary comes from. My father currently possesses the 400-year-old rosary, and he doesn't use it. It sits in a case with his grandmother's, sorry, his mother's, my grandmother's uh, pocket Bible in the dining room.
Understandable because you do want to take care for it. It's more
Yeah,
likely to break again.
and I'll be honest, at 400 years, it's kind of passed on from daily use to artifact, you know?
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, so that I guess that means that your like ancestors immigrated over like in some of like the first like discovery and like colonization. That's of like the American soil. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then people call me an administrative American.
That sounds fancy.
It's a crazy diss because they're saying I'm only an American administratively. I'm only American in that I have the paperwork for it, which is I got it. It's clever.
See, you're like an administrative American, and I'm just a CDD administrator. Not as cool.
Hmm.
I don't think I can call myself any kind of administrator.
That's okay. It just sounds too professional to me. I'm like, oh great. It sounds like I'm like about to like do some paperwork for some school.
Oh man, I got invited to a DEI committee. Well, up here we call them EDI committees because we're special and different. But I got invited to a committee, and it was like the tiniest room with way too many people in it, and very little of substance happened. And I was like, wow, I'm not sure I want to come back. But I got invited back, which is, I'm not sure what that means, being invited back.
You passed the test. That's what it is.
But then they told me to my face, oh, Jerma. I made a complaint about something, and they said, oh, Jerma, this is normal language in the EDI environment. You need to get used to this. And I'm like, wow. I just got skill issued to my face. That's
Well, you know, they need more diversity for the little room, right? Yeah, it's unfortunate though that you had to be, you know, on the little room, but guess it is what it is.
Well, the guy, one of the higher ups was there, and he was the guy that invited me, and he said, oh yeah, normally we book this room and it's fine, because only half of the people on the committee show up. But today everyone showed up.
Because you were going.
Had to be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
You're like, Germa's gonna be here.
Oh, I was at a party recently, and one of my friends walked up and was like, oh, by the way, Jerma, these are two of my friends. They're very excited to meet you. And this was not the first time that had been done to me by a friend. And they go, oh yes, here are some friends who have heard about you, like with the big capital Y. They want to meet you, and then I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know these people.
Is it a good or a bad they want to beat you?
It's, I'm not sure it actually holds any particular weight either way. It's like, I refer to it as the consequence of being iconic.
You can't help it. You're just an icon.
I'm just totally slay. They hate me for it.
No, I get that. Like, I feel like that's the way, like, my husband is sometimes. He'll, like, talk about people, or sometimes people will be excited about meeting him. So then it's like, yeah, that's my husband. He knows how to make really good food, so everyone wants to be his friend. He's just so
Sounds
intentional.
sounds like he would get along well with PapaLlama.
Probably. I was talking with him about it. I was like, yeah, Joy, yeah, Mr. Macka, I have to fill in for PapaLlama, and he smokes meat. You like food. PapaLlama likes food. Maybe y'all would enjoy each other's company.
I gotta say that it sounds like you're organizing a play date.
Basically, I joke about it sometimes about
Oh,
like when I like talk with other girls, and I'm like, oh yeah, like my husband should come hang out with your husband. They'll have a great time.
oh man, I once actually had to scheme to make my friend's father and my father into friends, and we like strategically planned uh meetings and whatnot. And you see, I'm friends with this person. Our mothers are friends, and our fathers were not yet friends. So the scheme was to make our fathers friends, so that way the entire family lined up and everyone had a friend.
I love it.
Oh yeah, and it worked. And then they meet and talk about politics and work, uh, and it's nice. But it also, yeah, Ozek?
I can't say I've had situations like that. I've had people that I you just know that they would get along great,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't say I've ever managed to successfully get them to become best friends. There's something missing.
Well, this
Yeah.
is because, Ozek, I am And as Macka protested about this a lot. She was saying, "Oh, Jerma, you're calling me stupid. Ooh, Jerma, you're saying that I'm weak-willed. I am good at getting people to do stuff.
I believe it.
Some people call it manipulation. Other people call it other things.
I call it manipulation.
Wow. This is I really want to say catastrophe, but because I just see the words catastrophe and Macka, and I'm like, oh, those words would sound well together, and then I realize I cannot pronounce those words together in a way that makes any sense.
Haha. Ozek, have you ever been put on a play date before, as Jerma has called it when I try and get my husband to hang out with other husbands?
No, I don't think I have. I'm the more socially outgoing in my marriage. So if anything, I do that for my wife. I haven't like I say, I haven't been able to get her to become friends with a specific person really. Maybe okay, maybe kind of the opposite with Jerma. I warned her about arguing with him when she started being more active on the server. And she's been actually enjoying herself quite a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember you described, I can't remember which one of you described me as their rival. And then Endo was like, Jerma is my rival, not yours. And I'm like, we're rivals?
Oh, I said that about you and her.
Yeah.
I don't tend to actually argue. Usually when these arguments happen, I'm just making jokes in the background.
Oh,
I
and
guess
that's,
you're
and that's
Um,
the plan for longevity.
yeah,
People who argue tend not to last. People who make jokes in the background will be here until the end of times.
yeah,
and they get to enjoy all the arguments.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I'll be honest,
Yeah.
to some degree, that's a bit worse than arguing. It's like, if you get into a fight with a guy, right? There's probably a reasonable reason for that fight. But
Probably,
if you stand around and watch fights all day, there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean?
probably. I don't know if that continues to apply for verbal arguments though. Like
It's about
for fist fights, I see what you're saying, but
it's about the form and the principle. You know?
yeah,
Michael, what do you think?
Well, I guess it's like the difference between a debate, where it's like you're watching it, but you're not watching it because you enjoy like okay, maybe you are watching it too because you enjoy watching like some like person's view get kind of ripped apart.
Hmm.
But there is sort of this like you can also learn from people arguing and you can
hmm
see that like the people arguing are also learning. So it can actually be a really neat experience as well.
yeah. Are you in it for the chaos or are you in it to learn?
Sometimes I am for both.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, and that's a very good argument. But now I make the very libelous argument of, does anyone actually learn anything in politics form?
Yeah, no, probably not.
I've probably taught people things in politics forum.
Uh, on the grounds of libeling politics forms, I dismiss your argument.
I learned Gabon existed. Is that how you say that? That
No,
country's
it's
name?
pronounced Gabon.
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 Well, I
Yeah.
learned. There we go. I just learned something.
Well, we learned that in Wapplewood podcast, not in politics form. So that
Oh,
doesn't really
that
count, does
first
it?
came. That first came up in Wapplewood.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
you. Or
the
do you mean now?
pronunciation did, yeah.
Oh,
Oh man, the story of Gabon, that was. So basically, the coup happened. I made a post about it. I'm like, guy, the coup in Gabon just happened. Everyone's like, Jerma, this doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, but what if the French invade? I'm like, okay, Jerma, we'll wait for the French to invade. 2 years later, French haven't invaded yet, but they still may. We'll see. I'm going to be unimaginably smug if French troops invade Gabon. You will not know how insufferable I'll be about that.
is
But
that something that's okay to be gleeful about?
um, well, on the ground of I told you so.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
I I I I used to be worse about it when I was younger, and I've actively tried to be better about it. But I am very much a man who will take so much glee in telling you I told you so, especially when I told you so and you didn't believe me. If I said I told you so, and you're like, okay, I'll consider that, and then it happened, I'm like, yeah, sure, you listen to me, that's fine. If you say I told you so, and then you don't listen to me, and it happened, as I said, I'm gonna be, ooh boy, I'm gonna be annoying. Which is, I think the kids these days call it a red flag. It's a semi-toxic trait.
I also feel like it could be called like, you know, a sore loser a little bit, but like in a weird way where it's not completely because
It's
it's like
called
you're a
what?
sore winner.
Oh, a sore winner. Oh man. Yeah, no, I gotta be honest, sore winners are worse than sore losers.
They rub it in your face more when they win.
Oh yeah, I mean, like if you're a sore loser, like sure, you can evade a sore loser by just backing out, and it'll look good to you for everyone, because like, yeah, okay, fine. That guy was a sore loser, you backed out. But if a guy is a sore winner, you're just gonna get harassed to that one. That's a no.
Yeah,
Nobody wins there. They've
you've
already won, and
already
they haven't won.
you've already had your glory. Time to be graceful and back down a little bit.
Yeah.
Nah, sore winners want to rub it in. They want to remind you and never let you forget forever.
All right. And now, to change the topic drastically, I've noticed in political memes, somebody posted a meme claiming that Donald Trump is related to Prophet Muhammad. Do you guys think this means he could declare himself Khalif?
No.
That was the most unsure no I've ever heard in my life.
It was less a no of uncertainty and a no of like disbelief of why someone would make that connection.
I also don't know a whole lot about Islam and how that line of secession actually works.
So, from what I'm remembering, and this is not a very good memory on this, I know about Muslims, I don't know about Islam. But what I'm remembering is that if you are a descendant of the Caliph and a significant enough leader, you can well, not the Caliph, a descendant of Muhammad and a significant enough leader, you can declare yourself the Caliph.
I didn't know that.
But the question is Donald Trump someone who people would believe if he said, I am now the Caliph?
I don't know.
It would be the funniest thing he could do, to be honest.
It would
That-
be hilarious.
There are a lot of funny things he could do, but
There's
that
a
would
lot of yeah.
This would have exceedingly massive geopolitical implications. Because it would basically it'd make everyone so mad at him, I think. It'd be, his voters, I mean, his voters don't really matter anymore. He's not going to get reelected. But, it'd be hilarious, I think.
Would be. And I mean, like, he's already, like, memed so hard anyway, you know? I mean,
Mhm.
What's
McDonald's,
another
the
thing?
garbage truck.
Alright, our fact checker, Miles, is telling me that it may need to be patrilineal, which is problematic because, Trump got it from his mother.
Ah,
Ah,
So,
sorry, dreams destroyed.
yeah. This is actually why I can't use my, German, or one of the reasons. One of the reasons why I can't use my German family crest.
because it's on your mother's side.
it's on my mother's side, and in Germany that transfers down the father's side.
Mm.
So I can't access it. Which sucks, because it's like kind of cool. But on the other hand, I could just separately register for my own crest in Canada, because we actually have that. We have a government certified list of crests, which are backed by the king.
Wow, that's fancy.
Well, technically they're backed by the Governor General, who is backed by the king, but it's backed by the king.
So
Well,
if there's a
that's
list of
Mhm.
approved crests, how does that can multiple families claim the same crest then?
No. It's like the sort of thing where, like, when you see, family crest, 99% of them are fake.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not really, I don't believe it entirely really exists as a thing. But, the list the Governor General runs is mostly family coat of arms. You can get a crest, a coat of arms, a flag. I think that may be limited only to corporations, but you can get all sorts of stuff. which is officially registered to you and officially something you can use. And it's a big sign of like you can actually stamp it on paperwork. Yeah, this is Jerma who signed this, and I have my crest stamped on it.
Wow, that's fancy. That's like the signet rings for like royalty back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But so it's
but it
basically, sorry, so it's basically like they have a database of
mhm.
all these unclaimed sort of, I guess, crests or whatever, and then you can just be like, I want that one.
No, what's the name of that?
Yeah, that was what I.
GT.ca. So if you go onto their website, it's the activity. Yeah, hold here we go. You have to be of note, and then you can request the governor to consent in an application to the Governor General. If you are important enough, the Governor General will say, okay, we believe you're important enough, and then they assign to you a herald, well, a heraldic expert who will design a crest to your specification, and then they will send you a copy of it to give us approval to, and then after that, once you've given approval to it, it gets put in the registry, and then it's your official crest.
Wow, that's fancy. That's kind of like the like that. That's just fancy. That's amazing.
It, it's the it's what happens when you have a country with an actual proper. It feels mean for me to say a proper history, but I think that's what it is.
You can say it. It's fine.
Yeah,
A
like
proper cultural identity.
yeah. This is something I always found so lame about America. America's like, oh yeah, Congress won't give out. If you can't get a noble title from Congress. Oh, you can't be an American politician and hold a noble title. Why not? Hmm? You guys are lame.
I mean,
Make
it's like
someone make someone a duke. That'd be funny.
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of like American noble families, but I don't think they get like special titles or anything. It's just kind of like people like know their last name, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's just like American noble families are just people who are known very well. Like the Kennedys, everyone knows the Kennedys. They're
Mhm.
effectively noblemen. They're not literally noblemen, but they're effectively it.
I
But,
mean,
but because of the Constitution, we can't officially say, oh, yes, the Kennedys are now a noble family, because that'd be against the wishes of the Founding Fathers, which I think is lame. The Founding Fathers, they got a bunch of things right. I don't think they got this one right.
let there be dukes.
Yeah, let there be dukes. And this actually reminded me, this was one of the big things about, oh wow, okay, I just found, looking through the list of coats of arms. Okay, here we go. Look in BC chat, and this is the coat of arms of a fellow, well, I'm not going to name the fellow explicitly because I'm not sure how permissive that'd be of CDD, but you can see just, this was made for him, and it had like a little explanation of symbolism and stuff like that. But this is official, and I think that's cool.
That's pretty
So,
neat.
so German, when are you gonna get yours?
I'm not going to comment on that. But I'm going to turn the question on you and say, if you were to get an official coat of arms, what would you put on it?
Ooh,
Oh, look, this is open to you too.
ooh, I gotta think about it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this isn't something I can say I've thought about a whole lot.
Well, that's a good time to think.
Yeah.
Well, I know like my family technically, like I've seen, I guess like the framed pictures of their crests, so that helps a little bit. I know with my family crest, I remember it having some like half moons on it, so I think that's really cool.
Ooh, half moon.
Yeah,
Moons
probably something
are
smarty too. I don't know, like a quill or something.
smart people be using quills. That's so true.
I know. I should just get a quill set and learn how to use it. You know, be one of those fancy people.
Mm-hmm. I I would be so insufferable and try to get like Uni the cat put on mine. The
I,
yeah.
I think mine would have to have some sort of snowflake or something on it.
Wow, I didn't know you were liberal.
No, not like that. Not like that. Something winter related. There's
Mhm.
some winter symbolism in my family name. Um,
Interesting.
can't say much more than that, obviously, but
You know, I really think you and your wife should move further north. I think that'd be very cool. You would enjoy that, I think.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. It would take a lot of convincing for her.
Yeah, I remember I was like, Ozek, come up north and work with me. It'd be fun. And then your wife is like, further north, do I want to do that?
Yeah.
If worst comes to worst, you guys could become what we call snowbirds.
when uh when we were dating, we would talk a lot about where down south we would move. And then we end up getting married and here we are in Wisconsin. Didn't move south at all. Or we did move south for a while and then came back up north. So
Man,
didn't
it'd be
really
hilarious.
didn't really pan out for her that way.
It'd be hilarious if you end up retiring in Alaska or something.
Yeah. I mean our wedding was in January and we chose blue and silver as the colors. I believe originally we intended it to be beach, but it turned into snowflake themed and
Yeah.
ice and like our pictures are out in the snow. She's got a fur shawl on. And I've just always thought that was kind of funny considering she hates winter so much.
That's horrible. It's winter is like the best season in my opinion. I actually was making sure all my winter gear was in order earlier today, and I was just like putting on my winter gear and like standing in front of the mirror and going, "Ooh, I've got some nice stuff on."
I like
Yeah.
winter until about February, and then I'm usually starting to get sick of it by then.
See, y'all are lucky. As a Texan, I don't really get winter.
I I think the amount of snow I got today would have destroyed your state. Actually, I only
Probably.
turned on my heating today.
Yeah, I don't think I've turned off my heating once.
I
And it
know
was like cool today, but it rained. We didn't get any snow.
well, I'm gonna go quickly look at the thermostat. Be right back.
Of course, you gotta rub it in.
I
Look
think
at you.
I think it's been below freezing for about 2 weeks now here.
I'm
Wow.
actually, I'm, I'm not even
It
sure
was
the
like,
heating's on. Yeah,
yeah, it was like below freezing for like a second when I visited like my parents in like North Texas. But
I
it didn't hit it where I live. Like, I don't think it's been below freezing yet.
the I always like to. I sleep best in the cold,
Hmm.
so I always open the window before bed. And you can tell later in the winter once it starts hitting like -20 and whatnot. I can only really open the window for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. But it's one of the things I despise about summer because that means I gotta have the AC blasting to get to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same for me.
I mean, obviously for me, Texas summers are no joke.
How
The
how hot does it get in the heat of summer or the peak of summer?
Well, just like last year, so not this summer, but past summer, we actually had like a really rough summer. So it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit
I
for probably like 3 weeks. Like it was
Oof.
bad. It was
We can
so
I
get
rough.
those temperatures on single days in summer, but it usually just lasts a day or two.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, we get sometimes like 112, 115.
I
Pretty
nearly
bad.
got heat stroke this summer, and it was only like give or take 80, maybe 90,
Mm.
and I was just like passed out, just overheating.
Hmm.
But in
Yeah.
my defense, I was doing heavy work in the sun all day, and it was high humidity.
Yeah, like the humidity can make it really bad, and like if you're not used to that kind of heat, like
Mhm.
it can get unbearable.
This is one of the things that people I own, I think, two T-shirts, and I don't wear them. So no matter how hot it is outside, I am out there, long sleeves, long shirt, maybe even a jacket.
I can't do that.
I
It's
can't
like the
either.
reverse of those guys who only wear shorts into the winter.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I dress appropriately. I wear long sleeves in winter and short sleeves in summer.
Well, this is actually one of those socioeconomic flexes you'll notice, which is that rich people always dress slightly out of weather. They dress lightly in the winter and heavily in the summer because
Mhm.
it's something that they get to do because they have constant air conditioning, basically.
Yeah.
They get
I never thought of it that
chauffeured
way.
limos. They don't have to worry about overheating.
That makes me happy to be poor. I can wear short sleeves in summer and be okay with that.
They can do it too. They just
Choose not to.
some of them choose not to. It's one of the things where the people who pay attention to this stuff tend to choose not to. But then a bunch of other people go, "Oh, that's stupid," and then they don't, and then they ignore it.
See, when I wear short sleeves in the winter though, it's because it's doesn't feel like winter because it's Texas.
And to be entirely honest, I'm disappointed with the winter I've gotten this year. I'm actually considering moving further north because it's not been enough.
Yeah, the last couple winters here have been pathetic. Like by this time of year, usually we've got quite a lot of snow, but we've got maybe a quarter inch right now.
Yeah,
My
it's
winters
terrible.
are always pathetic,
The
except for a week, maybe if I get lucky,
I only got
and
like
then the state might be closed.
I'm not sure I got any blizzards last year. I got one blizzard the year before that, I remember. And
Mhm.
even then, it was like a blizzard that was like it was such a weak blizzard. I literally was biking during it.
The last time we had a blizzard here was the night before my youngest child was born. So we
Ah,
had to drive. We had to drive to the birthing center in the blizzard.
that's
My
about the worst
goodness.
time to get a blizzard.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time when my father's family was driving from someplace to someplace else for Christmas, and they were going through the highways of Pennsylvania during a blizzard. And have any of you driven in Pennsylvania on the highways?
I've never
Um,
been to the East Coast, period.
I think I have. I have a little bit, but not very much.
All right. Um, it's basically constantly curving, and you're constantly up sort of hills, sort of mountains. So there's basically almost always a drop on one side of the road and a cliff and a wall on the other. Now you can imagine driving that at night when you can't see maybe 10 feet in front of you.
With slippery roads on top of that.
Yeah, with slippery roads on top of that. So
I
my
just
grandfather
cried.
was driving and my grandmother was in the shotgun seat praying the entire ride.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you all are putting together. They made it through. Everyone was fine. But it's the sort of thing where sometimes it's just not worth being out there. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think you get anything more than a slight hill in Wisconsin. Sorry, Minnesota. And I'm sorry, that was I know you're in Wisconsin. I shouldn't have tried to tease you like that. The But I can imagine if you're doing that in Idaho would be a different story.
Oh, the roads can get pretty bad here
Hmm.
in winter.
What way?
There was a time in Minnesota actually. I I didn't take offense to the Minnesota thing because I've spent probably about as much of my life there as I have here in Wisconsin. But we were in Minnesota. Um, it was just me and my wife. The kids were with my in-laws, and we were near the Twin Cities. And it was rush hour, so traffic was pretty bad. Caught a icy patch of the road. Car spun out, and it was one of those moments in my life where it felt like I shouldn't have come out of that alive because we just narrowly missed several cars as we were spinning.
Aye.
It was not good. And then a couple of years ago, living here, I had an accident just outside my house. That was related to icy roads as well.
I mean,
And-
today I wiped out on a bike that I just picked up. And I
Yeah.
said right before I did, I tried, oh wow, this is a new bike, I'll take it for a spin. And I forgot that you don't get traction on snow, so I go out into the road, 15 feet, I go, okay, now I'm gonna turn. Why is my rear tire doing that? Uh-oh, bonk. But yeah, what you said about not supposed to have made it out alive, I've definitely had moments of when it's like, oh yeah, that was probably divine intervention.
Right.
Macka, you?
We all have.
Well, unfortunately, we are like, what, 40, 45 minutes into recording now? So we are going to have to cut it here. Macka, Ozek, thank you very much for showing up at such late notice. If next time you see PapaLlama, like, throw a rock at him or something, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed yourself as guests. I've been Jerma. And this is where you say your name.
Oh, my name. Just kidding. This is Macka.
And I've been Ozek.
Good night.